So one of the things going along with this is like, okay, I've got my numbers and I've got my people. Maybe I've come over here and I've selected, several people here. I want to add them to my call list. I want to call them tomorrow, sometimes, sometime after 3 o'clock. So prospecting, you put it into whatever category you want there. So now it has added those contacts to my call list. Well, I go to my call list and I can see who all's on my call list for today. As you make your calls that are coming up or that are due. Okay, so Carl here, I need to make a call. Of course, I can click on my talking points. I want to talk about something. What did we last talk about? And it can do some looking back at the contact record for things that we talked about or whatever. But I make my call and I do whatever I need to do. And then I say, okay, let's complete this call. Whenever I complete the call, I've added 2 additional fields here. I want to know the outcome. We had this on there not too long ago. What was the outcome? Well, I connected or no answer or, any multitude of things. If I connected, great. What did I talk about? It will put this in automatically based off of making the call from the summary. It'll do some note stuff in there. But then the question becomes, where are we at on the milestone? Now that I've made this call, where am I at? I call attempted, call completed. So I've made my call. Did I set an appointment or not? What really happened? And you can choose now from here the ultimate status of what just happened. Maybe I did, but I didn't get the appointment yet. I did complete it, but we need to call back later. And I can just click on continue. Let me just go ahead and put in something in here, just junk for right now, and click on. Now I can choose to whether or not it's completed or not. If I didn't really complete it, but I did, I got a no answer or something, it can deal with it. I'm going to go ahead and say I completed it. So it'll knock it off the list and go on. So, but whenever I'm looking at that record, I can see my notes that I added. But the key is it went ahead and changed that milestone to call completed for me. At that same time, because of that, it did the call completed and it knocked it down from 12 to 11. Those types of things are now being linked in and done so that your numbers start reducing and doing the things that they need to do to switch and keep track of everything.
Do we have the ability to set those changes up the way we want? So in other words, if we wanted to say something other than call completed, I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, all of those are part of the menu items. So in the contact menus, we have all your different stuff. Here's your milestones right here. Call completed, call attempted. You can add or delete any, if you want other ones, you can put them however you want, and then they'll show up. Now, what won't show up at that point necessarily is this setup right here that I've got right here. This is kind of like the most common setup that most agents would want initially. If yours isn't this way and you want it that way, just go into the little gears and set reset. And whenever you click on reset, it'll put it like this. It'll make it like it's set up here. The other thing that I do allow you guys to do is your priority settings. So part of what it does is identifies what's the priority of these items, the different milestones, and we're assigning a numeric value on what's most important. And that importance is what puts them into that blue, red, or yellow state, some mathematics and stuff. And we'll have to get into all that, but it also deals with what is the lead source. So some of your lead sources may be more important and you would give them a higher score, and based off of that, it would put them at a higher priority than something else. So you've got a lot of control here. It's set by default the way you probably will use it 99% of the time. But if you guys want to go in and spend more time really honing in on your processes, you can change all of these calculations and stuff to assign your priorities.
On those missed connections there in that widget, did you say those are all set, or we can actually change what shows up in there? What lists show up in there?
So the list of items here,
yeah,
come from this right here. So here's the new status, or excuse me, the new leads overdue, new leads overdue. Call attempted.
So we can add a new one into there. Or
you can add, yeah, you can add new ones there. You can delete if there's ones you don't like, you can delete them from here.
Yeah,
you can reorder them. You can drag them around. So you can build this however you want it to look. The fact that it's doing the number crunching, that's part of this priority setting. And like I said, if you want to mess with that, great. If you don't, it's probably set the way you need it anyway.
The dynamic smart lists are huge. They're a big thing, and that was one of the great things about sure.
Yeah, and this is really just a smart list is all it is. It's just a fancy smart list.
Yeah. It just makes it easy. You come in and you look at your dashboard and you're like, okay, here's the calls I have to make today. Boom, done.
How would the easy way to market a completed or an end follow up?
Yeah, so I would do a follow-up call in that case. So if I'm over here, one of the actions may be schedule follow-up call.
Oh,
so
okay,
what it does then is it basically puts all the same stuff, and then you can put in the objective and the notes right there of what that follow-up call is, and then it'll add it in at whatever date that you want it assigned at.
That smart list there, which you're right. But let's just say, for example, let's say you set up a call list to call, your past clients every 90 days, right? Well, if you don't call a client and it gets to day 100, 130, 150, 180, whatever, let's say by the time it gets to 180, now you've got two tasks on there to call them, and they just keep piling up, right? Whereas with a smart list, once they hit day 91, then they just stay on that list till you clear them off, and their days resets to 0 again at that point.
Correct.
It took me a long time to wrap my head around that concept, because for so long we've done this, create a list that says when a new lead comes into my database, just call them every 3 days until you get a hold of them, or a past client every 90 days until you talk to them. But those tasks can keep piling up if you don't do them, because we know real life gets in the way.
It does.
So
the calendar.
It's kind of a reverse concept of looking at it, but once you figure it out, all of a sudden the light bulb goes and you go, okay, I get it now. And it can be a really nice thing.